Hello, everybody. This is Astein Osei, Superintendent of St. Louis Park Public Schools, and you're listening to the Share the Mic podcast, the show that explores what connects our school community, who we are as individuals, and who we are as a collective. Through conversations with students, staff, and community members, we'll talk about what brings us joy, our hopes and dreams, and our connection to our strategic plan for racial equity transformation. Charlotte and Amira, I'm just super excited to be here with you all today. Like, I don't know if you all know, but I'm like super fans. The work that you all did this summer as Youth Data Analysts, which I'm hoping to talk a little bit about today. Just listening to you all present your research and talk about like what the hopes and dreams are from the community and the recommendations that you all provided, I think is really powerful. So thank you for being here. Like if I am like going to fan guy mode a little bit, don't knock me, right? But I know I have a great deal of appreciation for you too, and know a little bit about you. But would you be willing to just share with our community more about who you are? You know, maybe even a little bit. How long have you been here in St. Louis Park Public Schools? I don't know. Charlotte, do you want to go first?
Okay, fine. Anywho, I'm Charlotte Cox. I am a sophomore this year, and I've been here since fifth grade. I switched to St. Louis Park.
Excellent.
Yeah, my name is Amira Abdirahman. I'm a senior at St. Louis Park, which is still so crazy to think about because I came here 6 years ago in the sixth grade. And, you know, I think I found like a real good community here. But, I've been here a while, and I'm still kind of shocked that I'll be walking that stage in June. But,
Don't say it like that. Jeez.
I don't know. I'm just like...
That's so weird.
I keep getting reminded, my teachers, Amira. You should come. Bring one of those like air...
We'll see. The air horns?
The air horns
I'm
that
not
are
one
really
of those
loud.
people. No.
Oh, there will be some air horns there.
Definitely will be there.
There definitely will be some celebration.
There were last year.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say, right, so fifth grade, Charlotte, sixth grade, Amira. So you all have been around a long time. You've experienced a lot here in St. Louis Park Public Schools. Charlotte, you got a little bit of elementary, middle school, and now high school. Amira, you got the full middle school experience in high school. What's been one of your favorite memories since being a student here in St. Louis Park Public Schools?
I think honestly, like the teaching staff, like they're just so like kind and like they listen, and like obviously there's few and far between that there's like some bad teachers, but for the most part it's overall good, and I can be like, well, I'd like consider myself friends with teachers, not in like a weird way, but like I'm friends with a lot of teachers, and I like talk to them on like obviously on a daily basis because I see them daily, and it's just nice to have that kind of connection with teachers.
Absolutely.
I definitely echo that sentiment that you have, Charlotte. I think I made a lot of memories, like even just like within the classroom. Like, I'd probably say like my favorites actually happened like outside of school, but then the people in the St. Louis Park community. So like kind of like the extracurricular activities, like the clubs that I've been a part of. I think those have stuck with me like the longest. My favorite, like one of my favorite memories like of all time. This happened years ago. So in middle school, I did Model UN conferences with. A couple of kids that were in my grade, and then a couple of the kids in the younger grades, and it was just so much fun doing those and spending time. Like, you know that you've built a good relationship with the people that you go to school with when you can like hang out with them outside of school and still have fun.
Oh, for sure,
so,
right? You said Model
really nice.
UN.
Yeah.
I mean, and you said that was middle school?
Yeah, we're trying to start something here at the high school.
Okay.
Like a club for that too, before I leave. So like one more year to do it.
No, I love it. And what I'm hearing from both of you, right, is it's really the people. You know, Charlotte, you talked about the teachers that you've had over the years. And Amira, I'm hearing you talk about certainly teachers, but just the relationships you've built with friends, either in clubs, you know, you referenced Model UN, or just other activities, right? I know you're in band as well. You were talking about, you know, trying out some new instruments and stuff like that. So as I mentioned when we were starting, like I became fans of yours just through your work with the Youth Data Analysts summer internship program. Would you two be willing to talk a little bit about that experience and what it meant to you as current students to kind of engage in that type of research?
Sure. I can go first, yeah. So I guess just for context for anybody that is listening, Youth Data Analysts are basically a group of students where we analyze a question that either like we come up with it ourselves, or like this year we were actually like given a question to research, and it was like, what are the hopes and dreams of our community? And I think this was really special because not only did we get to look at like data that was collected from previous years, but we also got to go out and ask our community what they really wanted out of the district, which I think is super important if you're in any position of leadership to talk about and to ask the people that you're representing and ask the people that you're serving like what they want out of you and what kind of like what their hopes and dreams are. And I think that looking towards the future, I mean, I saw it as pretty bright, and like getting the responses from our community and like what St. Louis Park Schools is doing well and then what we could do better on, I think has just been so important and so valuable. And it's taught me to seek out voices and seek out like the knowledge of experiences that other people have had, like just in my own day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me it was that I felt like valued as a person and less so like just a student, because I know in a lot of places like you're just a student, like you're just a kid, you don't have a voice. But the fact that I was able to research for the school and then recommend like every single school in the district to do certain things, that like it felt like I had a voice and I had power, and I feel like it like gave me the ability to like keep going, because I knew that like someday I'd have the power without even having to like go seek for it. Like I could just have it because I was like, I don't know, like a professional or something.
No, I hear you. I appreciate that, you know, and what's really unique about the work that you all did is that like the work of the Youth Data Analysts, this directly connected to our strategic plan here in St. Louis Park Public Schools. So we have different areas of focus. One of those areas of focus that we have is called Students at the Center. So specifically every summer, as we have different groups of students going through the Youth Data Analyst process, we take their recommendations and not only work to implement them, but like hold ourselves accountable to doing that, right? So over the past couple of years, there have been changes around like the way that we give students access to advanced courses, right? We've modified even like gifted and talented programming K-8 and moved to more of a talent development model. A lot of that came out of the research of Youth Data Analysts. Plus, you know, we had a group of teachers that got together and did a 3-year curriculum and program review process. But that Youth Data Analyst data was really important. And then the second cohort of students focused on exclusionary practices and disproportionality within that, and which really influenced our policy around student behavior and really influenced us going deeper into restorative practices. So I'm super excited, right, about like, so how is this work that you all did around hopes and dreams going to influence, you know, our district as we work to implement that this school year, your recommendations? What were some of the things that you learned or heard from community members as you were talking to them about their hopes and dreams?
I think we heard like a lot of really good feedback, and like community members talked about how they sometimes didn't get all the information, especially we like heard from a lot of Spanish speaking families that they didn't get all the information, and I like it was really good. Like it wasn't necessarily like good to hear that, because obviously that's not good, but I'm glad we were able to find that information, and we were then able to relay it to like you guys and everybody who we presented to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Also, there was a lot of talk, I guess, from students and parents about expectations. And I think that in any school district, there should be this standard where the district believes in their students' brilliance, and every teacher believes in their students' brilliance. And some students said that they felt that they had teachers that did that, and then some felt like with some practices in the district that wasn't necessarily the case. So we were able to kind of balance that out and take what was working for the students that say that their teachers believe in them, and then apply that to make sure that we can come up with a recommendation that every single teacher can follow, to make sure that students are able to see that they're believed in. Because I think that if people know that others believe in them, like they can believe in themselves even more, and that's like super important. Also, another thing that we heard from the community was that they loved St. Louis Park for its diversity, and I heard so many times from parents and students, diversity, 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 we love it. But then also a lot of them echoed the sentiment that, especially the students, that they might not have been learning like as much about it and like celebrating different people's cultures, and that while the room itself might have been diverse, like students might not have felt that like the learning was.
Oh, wow.
So we took that into account with our recommendations. And I think that just everything that we heard was so valuable and so important.
For sure. No, I appreciate that. And I appreciated it hearing it this summer and just even hearing it again. I'm excited about the recommendation because I think if we can lean into what people have told us they need and that they want from us, that we can just make a better school experience for all of our students and families. And I really appreciate the conversation around brilliance, you know, and if I haven't told you all, like I'm a fan, but you two are extremely brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant scholars. And I'm just thankful to be able to share this space with you today and continually learn from you. One of the pieces that I'm thinking about as I think about hopes and dreams, knowing that you all have invested a lot in St. Louis Park Public Schools over the years. You know, Amira, you were saying that you're going to blink your eyes and you're going to be crossing that stage, right?
Yeah.
So what are your hopes and dreams for St. Louis Park Public Schools as someone that's getting ready to finish up your time here? And then, Charlotte, I have the same question for you because I know you got a couple of years still with us here.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope that like long after I'm gone that administrators and teachers and just like the adults in the building keep seeking out student voice. Any opportunity that I've gotten, and like over the years, I just want to thank you for giving me opportunities to be able to get my voice out there, and be able to like represent kind of what my class and like what like my peers want out of the district. I just think that it's super important. So I hope that even when I'm like in college or even like out of college after that this place continues to be special in seeking out student voice, because that's so valuable. And like if there's anything that taught me how valuable it is, it's definitely been the work that we did this summer. Going back to that, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I think like I'm excited to obviously be done because I don't like school, but that's a whole other situation.
We're gonna come back to that. I need to learn more about that.
I don't know. I mean, I really like my time here because I was at 2 other schools before St. Louis Park, and I mean, obviously I stayed. So like, tells you something.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think I'm excited because we do have like academic rigor here, and I'm excited to go through the rigorous process.
No, I love it, and I'm not gonna. I'll save it for after the podcast, you know. But I one of the pieces that you mentioned earlier is about like why you like it here, and you talked about adults, and I appreciate you saying that. You know, like education. Public education, for that matter, is, I would say, sometimes a profession in which the adults that work in this profession don't always, you know, hear positive things. A lot of times, you know, I can speak for myself. Most of the times when I'm hearing from people, it's because something's not going right. You know, so I really appreciate the two of you, like, acknowledging the impact that the adults have on your lived experience here. And I was wondering if there was any particular adult or just person in the organization that has had a positive impact on your life that you would want to acknowledge right now and just thank for the impact that they've had on you as a student here in St. Louis Park.
Okay. Oh, that's a great question. See, there's so many that I just want to say, like, the majority of the teaching staff here, I think, especially the ones that I've come across that I've built relationships with. I remember, I think just when we did the back to school kickoff and I got to see the middle school staff again. I know a couple teachers that recognized me, and I haven't been there in years, but like just having the conversations, like even though like we've both like grown and you know, had different experiences and like been through so many different teachers and students and like classes and things like that, I think like the relationship is still there. And I was able to like converse with them like they were my friends, and it was just I mean, it was amazing.
I love it. I love it. And that was you all are so wise beyond your ears, right? I asked you a question. I try to put you in a spot, and you eloquently answered it in a way. I get it, right? So I'm hearing you say
drop, but then I feel like it was single people out that I don't like. No, you know?
I love it. And here's why I asked the question, right? I asked the question because I think that acknowledgement is an important thing, right? And what my hope is that every single day, the adults that work in this organization have an experience that brings them joy, because this should be a profession and a vocation that is joyful, you know. So I asked the question. loving the way you all responded, right? Because really what you're saying is that the adults you encounter on a daily basis have a positive impact on your life, and it wouldn't be fair to necessarily single one person out, right?
Yeah, and
It's hard to as well, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is that, like, they treat us like equals and they talk to us like equals, and we're not, like, belittled. Like, the teachers that I don't necessarily like or I don't like being around are the teachers that talk, like, down to you. Like, I've always had an issue with that, and, like, it's just, like, here most of the teachers, like, they don't necessarily see you as equals, but they talk to you like we're equals, and they're able to, like, make that connection with you, like, as equals instead of being, like, some, like, person super high and we're super low. Like, it's, like, we're more equal, which is nice.
For sure.
I think the biggest thing, the teachers that I really love are the ones that, see beyond the student in you and see you as a person.
Yeah.
I think that's so, so important. I think that it's important for students as well to see teachers as people, because honestly, like, we come here every single day and we have a job to do, and we understand that we have to get it done, but, like, it doesn't have to be just that. Like, we can also enjoy ourselves and, like, be ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I think those classrooms are the ones that are the safest for me to be in and the most enjoyable for me to be in.
Yeah.
That's so important.
When even though we have classes that offer stuff like that, like, we're able to be ourselves in classes. We have extracurriculars
Absolutely.
that we are able to, like, be ourselves in. Like, I do synchronized swimming, and I found a very good community there, and, like, I found people that, like, I'm friends with, and even if, like, I was in the middle school and they were in the high school, we were still friends. We'd, like, talk a lot. Like, it's nice that we're able to just have those connections.
Wow. Something that many would think is such a simple thing, right? Like, having people show up as their full authentic self, or just show up and being human. Like, I'm hearing the two of you provide examples about where you feel most connected, and there's no spaces where you can just show up as who you are, right? And not have to pretend to be something that you aren't. And, like, what would, like, public education in general be like if every student could just show up as who they are and be loved and accepted for who they are, and I appreciate you all saying that, because in St. Louis Park Public Schools, we work so hard, regardless of if it's somebody's race, ethnicity, culture, gender identity, expression, whatever it may be, we try to create an environment where people can show up as their full authentic self. So to hear you two say the environments that energize you the most are those spaces, it just really reinforces who we want to be and who we're striving to be here in St. Louis Park Public Schools.
You certainly do a very good job of that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate you all sharing a little bit about your hopes and dreams, because that helps me, right? And I know that we heard from, many parents and students over the summer about their hopes and dreams. And Charlotte, I heard a little bit from you. Specifically, you isolated the experience of some of our multilingual families, and I think you said particularly like Spanish-speaking families, and having access to communication and translations and things like that. And Amira, you talked about the need for students to have challenge, rigor, expectations, but more importantly, like, to see the brilliance in children, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes when you don't believe that a student is brilliant, you may not challenge them accordingly, right?
Exactly.
Right. Was there anything else that you all heard that you would want to share or want people to know about from the research that you did this summer?
I think just seeing that it has impact is amazing. I mean, just this morning I was talking to Dr. Sylvie Lafayette, who we worked a lot with this summer, and, like, definitely enjoyed that.
She's amazing.
She's
too.
amazing.
She brings me joy.
And what she told me was one of our recommendations, we asked for the district to be able to create more positions, like, for students to be able to do things similar to what we did, and get paid for it.
Yes.
Because again, like what you were saying about St. Louis Park Public Schools and how it wants to have student voice be at the center of everything that they do. And we felt that, like, communication was something that we were hearing from the community that was a little bit lacking in some spaces. So we thought, what better way to fix that than to have more positions like what we were doing this summer, and have more opportunities for students to be able to do that. And so I was talking to Dr. Lafayette this morning, and she said that there were a couple of kids that were hired by the district because of that recommendation that we had. So seeing that, like, as an example of, like, what's come to light because of what we did, that was just amazing.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome.
Like, our team, I think we have to commend our team for that, because that was really, I'm so glad that we were able to see that happen.
And like
That's
to
it.
touch on that, like, not to brag, but we got paid. Like that just goes to show like you guys actually value our voices,
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
a lot of places would be like,
Yeah.
hey, we want you, and like take us all summer, because we did like, this was a 9-week program.
Oh, yeah.
So we were like here a lot, and we had a lot of work to do. And I know a lot of places would have just been like, do the work and like not get paid. So the fact that like we were able to get like show that we were valued by like monetarily,
Oh,
but
yeah,
like
for
we
sure.
were able to like get like, it showed us that we were actually like deeply valued, instead of just like, you're totally valued. Like we were actually
I hear you.
shown that we were valued.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. So if there are any, companies, organizations listening to this podcast right now, and you want to contribute to the valuing and engagement of students through experiences, certainly we are open to any donations, anything that you
Yes,
would want to do
please.
to make sure that we can continue to provide these type of opportunities for students. Because I agree with you. I feel bad asking students to do stuff for free, because I know that there's an aspect that as human beings we have to, I think it's important for us to have like a service oriented mind, but
Right.
also you all did some serious work this summer. I know I checked in on you a couple of times, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you all are working extremely hard, right? So I'm thankful that I'm thankful that we were able to, compensate you with financially, but I think we could have paid you even more, because you all were doing like college level research, right? And I know that there were several people from universities here supporting, and they would attest that the level of research that you all were doing was college level. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome. Was there, speaking of that, was there like any scholarship, any readings that you did this summer that you think is important for our community to explore and learn more about, to grow in their understanding of who they are and where we want to go as a community?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like in the context of post-COVID, which we know the pandemic's not entirely over, but like I think generally it's become less and less of like a worry on people's minds. But when it was, we read this article that was titled, I think, the
Post-pandemic reset.
The
or
Reset,
something
yeah,
like
by
that.
Gloria Latson-Billings.
Yeah.
And what she was talking about was we cannot go back to how we were pre-pandemic, where we weren't seeing every single student's needs as the exact same. I mean, where we were seeing students' needs as the exact same, even though students are so like vastly different. And there was a lot of like equity issues with that, where and I just want to like racialize, like, because it's so important, where students of color were just not receiving the same services, and their needs weren't being met in the same way that white kids' needs were. And then the pandemic hit, and everyone was kind of in the same situation. But even then, like, you could see the inequities coming to light. And I think it was brought more to light, like, because of the pandemic. So coming back into in-person school and things like that, and when we were reading it, and Latson-Billings, what she said was, we can't go back to the way that things used to be, and that we should aim for a progressive education system, not where we are going, back in time.
Right. Right.
That definitely impacted me, and like impacted our work, I think I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's
We talked
powerful
about that a lot.
scholarship. No, for sure. Well, I have two more questions for you,
Sure.
all right? So the first question is just connected to, like, what brings you all joy? A little bit ago I talked about the importance of adults in this organization finding joy in their work, seeing this as a vocation, understanding the impact that they're having on our democracy, right? So what brings you all joy on a daily basis, either connected to St. Louis Park Public Schools or something outside of the school day?
Sure. I think it's just being in the moment, making memories. I think a lot of us are too stressed about like the future, the past. Maybe they'll be like leaning into the past. I mean, and I definitely have had that, but I think just like being in the moment and kind of being present and experiencing everything, in school and outside of school, whether that's, hanging with my friends here, learning new things that I didn't think that I would ever learn. And then, just outside of school, being with my family, who are like so important to me. Getting to do the things that I love to do, like my hobbies. I think that's what brings me joy. And then being able to share that with other people, that's just so important to me.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think for me, just finding like the things that I find like fun day to day. Like right now, I really like driving. 'Cause
Okay.
I got my permit, so
Nice.
that's fun. I know. I'm so fancy. Anywho, but like It just depends on the season. Like during synchro season, like that's super fun, and getting to see my friends every day and stuff like that. And I think just finding the little things in your day that like make you happy and making sure you do them and like get to them and prioritize them so that you can have that little bit of joy.
It's always it's always the little things that matter. I think.
For
I know.
sure.
I got advice recently to just take a moment in your day to do something small that brings you joy. So like in the moments that I'm stressed or I'm worried about something or just like there's a lot going on, there's something there to ground myself. I think that also brings me joy.
Oh, yeah.
Very wise.
This is, wow, that's powerful. As I was sitting there listening to the both of you, I was like literally so much wisdom there and things that I need to like take into my daily lived experience, this idea of just being present in the moment. I'm always thinking about what do I have to do next, right? And then just all of the little things, right? Every single day. So I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, which like every moment with them is super comical. But sometimes because I'm always rushing, I've missed these moments, right?
Yeah,
so now like what you all just offered around this idea of joy, I appreciate it because it means a lot. And actually, if I could just even lean into a little bit of what you're offering, right, I'm sure I would have a more joyful life. So thank you for sharing that. And then just the last thing that I have before we close out is that, and this is kind of like, as part of this podcast, the Share the Mic podcast, it's kind of like our mic drop, right? So is there any final remarks or closing comments that you have or that you would want to share with our listening audience?
I don't know. I mean, just like thank you for having us. Like,
thank you,
giving us the voice again. Like we talked about it all the time. Like the fact that you're letting students on here, because a lot of the times it'd be like adults and there's no like students.
Well, just know that this is literally the first podcast.
That's
right?
Exciting.
Yeah,
That's
this
exciting.
is the first one. So you all are kicking this off. And
first one, best one.
First one, best one. You heard it here. First
You're
one,
not
best
gonna
one.
top this, man.
I love it. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, but thank you for being here, Charlotte. Thank you for being here, Amira. Was there anything you wanted to? Is there anything you wanted to share? Closing remarks?
Yeah, I think just to kind of summarize like what we've been talking about, because some good things that I've been talking about. What we've been like talking about. So first of all, I just want to say to anybody like listening, please try to seek out the little things in your life that bring you joy. That is so important to do, because I think that generally like your mental health, like those little things that you do to take care of yourself are just so important. And I think they change the way that you look at life entirely. And then also seek out the voices that you might not get to hear every single day.
Love it.
So important as well, because, I think if the district hadn't done that, then we wouldn't even be here right now.
No,
I wouldn't have met
not.
Charlotte
No,
anyways.
we wouldn't have. I didn't know who you were.
No.
Stranger danger, man.
So I just think generally, like even outside of the school context, like just look to see perspectives that aren't your own. I think that's so huge.
Wow. Well, I love it. I mean, and what the two of you have offered, I mean, if those that are listening, viewing, don't see the brilliance, right, that you all possess, they must have been sleeping and had their ears closed the whole time. But thank you so much for being here. And I'm looking forward to continue to learn from you all. So have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
This has been Share the Mic. I'm Astein Osei, Superintendent of St. Louis Park Public Schools.